Hello friends, and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, if you've seen the last few videos, you know that I have been playing desperate catch-up because we were playing an outdated version of the pack. We are now finally caught up. I've updated the pack, and I have now rebuilt everything around us here so that we are actually using the correct machines. So these miners are using the updated version of the pack's miners. Everything else has basically been torn out and replaced, with the exception of the pipes, because it was way too much trouble to redo all of the pipes that I've got in the game, so we're just going to have the weird little cheaty pipes for the foreseeable future, although I have replaced a few of them. Now, we have just a few things that we need to check off on our list today to get completely up to date, and then we'll be able to get right back into the pack. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. So I did run through and check off the things that were relatively straightforward for us based on the existing quest lines that we need to do because I need to get them anyway. So I got our mechanical pipes, I got our logistical transporters, those replace our fluid pipes and item pipes with mechanism pipes instead. Also added the facades, which we need for that so that we can cover the pipes nicely and elegantly. So that takes care of everything in hot stone for us. Now under melting, there's a couple of things left that we need to do or redo. So let's jump into those. We need an equipment modifier. So apparently we use this to modify equipment like our tools and whatnot. So we do need to grab up some black bricks, which I've already got here. And we need to make a crafting table and wrap that around those. So let's go ahead and do this, and then we circle it like this. And is that not the recipe? Oh, what are we missing? Oh, we need 2 solidifiers. Okay, that's a little weird, but not a problem for us. We can make those. And then we should have everything for this. Yeah, there we go. That should knock off that quest. Let's just take a look at this real quick because, again, I've never used this. This, I think, is from this casting mod, right? And I don't really play with that much. So let's put it over here. And let's see here. What can I do? I guess this is where I would like repair tools by having the equipment in there. And it doesn't look like it's got any recipes. So let's see here. What's the usage for this? Tool modifier. Here we go. Oh, so here's how we actually make all of these things. So instead of having to use an anvil and a book, I guess you can use these instead to be able to do these modifiers. So, ooh, teleporting? Night vision, all sorts of interesting things that we can add to our tools. And it looks like some of these, it doesn't tell you what it does yet. All right, check that one off. Over here, we need to take a look at a pipe connector. Apparently this is a quick way to connect pipes. So we need treated wood planks and some string. So I think I have some string left over, just dropping off my tech bucks. Industrial hemp. No string there. Well, we can make some, right? Because I've got a bunch of leaves here. So let's grab up some of our oak leaves and we're just going to turn this into a bunch of string. If I remember correctly, it's a row just like that. Leafy string is now done. We'll put this back in here. And then we just need to go find wherever I left our treated wood planks. That would be the right container for that. And I think it was just this sort of a pattern. Yes, it is. All right, there is our pipe connector. And our inventory is once again way too full, so we will dump some things on the ground and we'll just find a place to store this extra iron, I guess, just like that. Okay, great. All right, so now we have a pipe connector. I wonder how this works. Let's see here. If I just grab a couple of random things, can I just like click to connect? How does this work? Oh, that's the wrong container. You must hold a valid pipe item in your offhand. All right, there's offhand. So shift click there, shift click there. Okay, well, I'm not sure exactly. Let's see here, chest guard. All right, well, this is something we can, oh, it did make it. Okay, I just didn't see it happen. All right, well, this is good to know. We can certainly play with this later. Or maybe I accidentally placed that without realizing I was placing it. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we're gonna have to tinker with that later to figure out how it works. Let's take a look real quick at the fluid router. This is easy enough. It's just mechanical pipes wrapped around some treated planks for us. So we can do that real quick. So fluid router. There we go. There's our fluid router done, easy enough. And I'm guessing this works almost exactly like the item router. Yeah, it looks like we can filter this for the various sides and make this spit out fluids in the direction that we want them to. So you can see these are color coded. That should make it easier to move fluids around for us. Does it tell us anything about it? Yeah, sorting of fluids. All right, we'll come back to the guidebook. That's an immersive engineering thing. And then the item router, we've actually already made this. Let's just make another one using the new recipe though real quick. So let's do item router. There we go. Just like that. Although I think we didn't make an item router, right? We made an item sorter. So this should allow us to filter our items a little bit better. Okay. And then between the combination of these, we should be able to create a nice item sorting system that works with our new pipes and not these old pipes, the way that I've kind of got this going. All right. So those are done. Checked those off. And then we need a logistical sorter. Now, this is an interesting one. Let me go ahead and break these. It looks like I need 2 item routers here, so I may as well use one of the item routers that we've already got. Where do I have an axe will work, right? Yeah, axe will work. Okay, so let's make a second one of these. Now, logistical sorters I have a love-hate relationship with. They are not quite as flexible as many of the other options that you have for moving things around. Now, I don't hate them necessarily per se, but as I recall, they have a pretty high limit on the number of actual things that you can filter with them because you're limited to the number of colors. Also, they're just really, really noisy. They make this loud clicking sound and it's really irritating. I think when we played... There we go. We've completed that chapter now. I think when we played Techopolis 2, we were dealing with those a lot and they just were clicking all the time and it was annoying and we needed mufflers for everything. So that is certainly an option for us, but I hope we don't have to use it too much. All right, so we are mostly done with the basic technium. It looks like the only thing we didn't make was a machine extender. So let's make that real quick. This apparently allows us to just get input and output from the machine on top. I think this replaces the inputs and outputs that we had to make in the previous version of the pack. So we're gonna do this real quick. We are only missing the basic technium frame. And I think I have some basic technium somewhere laying around here. Actually, you know what? I've got it all over here in our technium drawers. Not here, just after the actual machine. Oh, we have 500 basic technium. That is gonna be plenty for us. Let's grab that up, turn that into nuggets, and then this we can use to make that frame real quick. So let's make the basic technium frame. Great. And now we can make our machine extender. There we go. And that completes that set of quests for us. All right, so now these are all done, although it does look like there's an optional quest to do a basic technium machine placer. So I'm guessing that replaces our machine blueprint for us as an item. So let's see here. I think let's just go ahead and buy one from the catalog. It's not required, but you know, it's certainly okay to do some optional quests here. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 tech bucks. Throw this in here, and somewhere in here, oh, is there 1 per? Yeah. Oh, we are definitely not spending money on this, friends. This is ridiculous because we need to basic technium machine to use the key on. Yeah, we don't need placers, y'all. This is way too expensive for just a placer. We don't need one for every single machine. That would be silly. So we're not gonna buy that. It's an optional quest. We're gonna live without it. Sorry. Completion. No, we're not gonna worry about it. It looks like all of our stone quests are still done, so nothing to worry about there. And that means we are now back and caught up and able to proceed. We are back in alloys. All right, so from here, things start to get really interesting because we're finally getting down into electricity. So before we actually get to electricity, let's make the side detour here to get some of these powdered ingredients that we're gonna need, including redstone. So finally, let's go ahead and make some salt here. We need to go to our blast furnace and throw sand in it. That seems like an interesting way of getting this done, but we do have a decent amount of sand over here collecting in our box. We'll grab a stack of that, and we'll run down to our blast furnace and insert this. Now, I had gone ahead and upgraded our blast furnace in the previous episode, and I added a second one between episodes, so we'd have a general purpose one. So this one is smelting our steel, albeit not automatically yet. This one is just for whatever else that we happen to need. In this case, glass is going to be, sand to make salt is what we're gonna need. But we do need some sort of a fuel source still for this. So I do need to double back and apparently get some of our coal coke. Now, I had set up this station to make our coal coke for us so that we would have an automated place for that. It's using the same basic system that we have here for our actual making of creosote oil for making charcoal. So the creosote oil is now getting bulk produced into treated wood planks here, which is making a tidy number for us. We're keeping up with that. The charcoal that comes out of here is getting melted down over here in our coal melter, and the coal that's being produced, the actual coal chunks, are going in here into the coke oven. But we're also doing coal gears, mini coal, all of the other things that we need for our production. Oh wait, that's copper. Coal is back over there. But the point being, same idea. So now we have an unlimited source of coal coke. We can use this inside of our blast furnace here, and that should give us our salt. So we're gonna let this cook for a second and get some salt out of it. All right, there's our salt coming in just like that. Okay, what do we use this for? Salt blocks, blasting into burnt redstone. Okay, so we need to put this back through a second time, and that will give us burnt redstone. And then that in a rock washer will give us our redstone ore pieces. This is an annoying recipe, I'm going to admit. So it looks like we are gonna have to automate this. Let me go ahead and make some more steel plates because we're gonna need to make another blast furnace here and put it down right next to this one. So this one will automate just our salt for us. And then I guess we have a bunch of glass shards as a byproduct that we're not using. And then that I can put into another blast furnace that we're then gonna use to make up our burnt redstone. So let's do that real fast. All right, so to make the blast furnace, we are going to need, or the improved blast furnace, I should say, we are going to need steel plates as mentioned. So we are going to use our casting setup here that I've created a mini automated casting setup. And this is how we are going to get those steel plates. So I'm just going to dump the steel ingots into here. This gets melted relatively quickly, and then the solidifier will go through and turn these into plates once they go through here. So the plate mold will cast those into plates. So if we wait just a second, there's molten steel coming in. That molten steel is now being converted into plates, and momentarily we'll have that. We will combine that with our coke bricks here, excuse me, our blast bricks here, and 27 of those will be turned into our blast furnace, or at least the automated blast furnace. So once we get those in, we'll be ready to go. You can see between episodes, I also made up a bunch of iron plates and a bunch of copper plates because I suspected that we're going to be needing them soon. So that's what's going on there. All right, our steel plates are done. While that was cooking, I made up a hopper as well, which is the only last ingredient that we are gonna need to actually make the advanced blast furnace. While we're over here, actually, let's go ahead and make one more thing up. Let's grab up our blast bricks, and we do need to turn this into a mold. So let's go ahead and make this mold. While we're here, there is our dust mold. I'm sure that will have a useful purpose for us when we're starting to make our redstone. Let's throw this back in here. We're gonna come back for it later. Now, salt doesn't have any other interesting purposes in this pack until we get into late game mechanism. So for right now, we can automate this so that this creation of salt is going basically directly back into our system for all intents and purposes. We are going to lay this out the same way that we did the previous setup. So let's see here, we need a block here where these are going to go. So I want 3 blocks between our machines, 1, 2, 3. And so right here is where this is going to go, just like this. And again, a 3x3x3 cube is how we make this machine, like so. And we are gonna have to move those wood planks out of the way because those are in the way, but we will put the hopper right here. And let's just cut these out because we do need to clear some space for the way this needs to be set up. Let's go right here. There we go. All this now trimmed away. Perfect. And now we just whack it with our engineer's hammer. And there we go, we have a second blast furnace. Now let's go ahead and work on automating this setup a little bit here. So we are gonna want our salt to go into a drawer that's basically gonna be like right here, just like that. We will go ahead and knock the block off in front of it so it's easier for us to get in and out. I am gonna return to my logistical transporter pipes for putting this into place. And I actually wanna move this forward 1 block from where it is so that we can route behind it. And you'll see why in just a second here. So this will go like that. We need to break this brick so that we can get into it when we're from the top, right there. And now our logistical transporter pipe will go here, but we are going to continue using our traditional item pipes from Modern Dynamics to connect this in. So we're gonna need to put this in place, and then we want to disconnect these 2 pipes, which otherwise would be connected. So if we click this just right, there we go. This should disconnect these pipes. There's that. And I do not want to be colored, so let me just fix the colors real quick. All right, so that's connected up. Then all we have to do is grab our configurator and shift right click on that to start pulling our salt into this container. We are gonna grab up our key so that we can lock it, so this can only get salt. And now we did put the item pipe on the bottom here from the Modern Dynamics item pipes so that we can still connect these up. So since we don't have auto crafting set up, we need a way around not having auto crafting. And so this is the way that we're doing this. We're using our item pipes to basically supply items to things using these attractors so that on demand, these can get ingredients back out. Okay, so this item pipe needs to go on here. And the easiest way to do that, I think, is going to come over from this side with it. And that way it won't get weird and conflict with the other things that we're going to have going on. There we go. And now we just need to configure this attractor. So the attractor needs to get two things here. Let's go ahead and put this in place. And so one item that it's going to need here is going to be salt. And the other item that it's going to be needing to get is coal coke. Coal coke. Nope, charcoal. There it is, the gray one. Perfect. So these two ingredients go in through the top and they'll get sucked into here. So you can see salt is already coming in. We're going to come back over to this other machine and do exactly the same thing. We want to go up with this because we are going to have preheaters on this in the near future. So I do want to leave room for those to go into place. So let's go ahead and make sure that we can get this into that space without too much trouble. This is where the preheaters will go. So we want to go up and around from that. Let's put the attractor on here. And then the attractor in this case gets the same thing. We want coal coke going into that. And we're going to whitelist that. And then this gets sand, as you all remember. So let's put sand in here. Why isn't sand first? That's weird. Okay, so this will now get sand, and this will start making our glass and also our salt. All right, so this is all starting to work. There is our line of coal coke slowly coming in here, just as expected. And here you can see that this is starting to burn our salt. All right, so to turn that redstone that's burnt into redstone ore pieces, we do need to wash it in a rock washer. Let's go ahead and make one of those. This is real easy here. You can see, let me clear that out. Treated wood planks, a fluid tank, a sturdy machine frame, and a chest. That's all we need, and we already had the machine frame done, so we should be good to go there. I've got a whole bunch of water already being made with these ambient water collectors I set up for the previous rock washing, so there's really no reason that we shouldn't just like reuse these. So let's go ahead and set this up pretty much exactly the same way that we have our other rock washers right here that we're using for our metals. So we're gonna put that here. So this is getting water in it. Now what we need to do is insert items into it. So it does need to know what items. And here we can use one of our many attractors that we have left over to put it onto this machine and attract here. So whitelist only the burnt redstone, and then that should get washed into our redstone ore pieces. Great. So let's go ahead and put this together. We're gonna set it up just like this. And then this drawer here will get the redstone when it comes back out. So I will put a connector on top, just like that. We want to disconnect this, of course, like so. And then this will go up and into this container over here. All right, and our burnt redstone just came in, the first piece of it, and there is our redstone ore pieces. So we can use this now to both set our filter on this machine. So there's our attractor. And actually, you know what? We don't need to waste our precious attractors on this, right? We have a much better way of doing this. Just break these off, and then we can go back to using our logistical transporters here. We do just need to configure this so that this does not interfere with the rest of the system, just like that. And this is a much more efficient way of doing this. So now we just have to take our configurator and set that to pull. So that should then pull these pieces into here. And since this is locked, it will stay locked. Okay, so that is going to wash those for us. Oh, it looks like we need to take those and smelt them. So those need to go into just a traditional furnace, it looks like. And let's see here. It does look like a blast furnace is going to be a little faster for us. So maybe we set up a couple of blast furnaces over here, which we had left over anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and put these on the opposite side of the rock washer. This will keep it close enough that it'll be easy to manipulate this and get things in and out. we are going to do a very similar setup as we had done on the previous one here. We're going to put our item pipe back here. We do need to put an attractor on this one. And again, we do want this to be disconnected temporarily. So let's just disconnect that temporarily so that we don't get the wrong items in here. This is going to be interesting for us because we need to do some like kooky routing to get this to work, because we do need our item to go on the top and we need the coal to go on the bottom. That is one of the frustrations with this sort of a machine. So let's do this. Let's do this. This one has to get charcoal in. So let's go ahead and look up charcoal real quick. So charcoal has to go in on the side. That's the only input that's going to be valid for this furnace. The top one has to get whatever we are smelting. So in this case, this is going to get our redstone pieces. So let's grab one of these up and we will filter this to only attract redstone pieces, just like that. So those should go into the right slots. And now this is where it gets weird. We have to put the output on the bottom like this, but we don't want the logistical transporter to connect to this. So we need to set this to not connect like that. And then this needs to run like up and around the side of this somehow so that it doesn't connect. Actually, we'll just go around the back and we'll extend this as we go, as we add new machines to it. So we'll do something like this and get rid of the extra one that we don't need. And then this just needs to be configured to pull out the bottom, just like that. All right. So now if I go and I right click on these, this should magically start working. So yeah, we can already see it's pulling the redstone ore pieces in, and we just have to wait a little while until we actually see the charcoal start to show up from all the way down there. All right, there is our charcoal coming into our brick blast furnace, and momentarily we should see redstone show up into this container once it gets smelted, pushed out the bottom, and pulled all the way back around our system here momentarily. Oh, you know what? It's not going to happen because we haven't locked the drawer to do that yet. Let's go ahead and put that in there. And yeah, there we can see now this is going back into this container the way that we want it to. Perfect. All right. So now we have a source of redstone. I am noticing that charcoal is starting to not be produced at quite the rate we need it to. So I probably will go and expand our massive blast furnace array, or excuse me, our coke furnace array that we have over there to make a lot more charcoal out of logs. So this is already a big array. I think I've got like 8 in there or 10. So we'll probably make that like 16 or something between episodes because we need a lot more charcoal than what we're getting. Let's go ahead and grab up the 8 pieces of redstone. Oh, I guess 9 pieces of redstone now. And the last thing I want to get done this episode, because we are running out of time, is go ahead and set up some blast furnace preheaters. I don't think we're actually going to be able to turn these on yet because we do not actually have a source of electricity to power them yet. All right, so to make these, we do need to grab up our iron sheet metal here, which we make out of iron plates. We had already made up the iron plates as mentioned, so we need 4 pieces of this. There we go. Now, to actually make the fluid pipes, we're going to need even more of those iron plates. And then we need to make an external heater, which means we do need 1 more piece of the sheet metal, but we're going to make more than that. It's fine. And then I think we have all of the other ingredients for that. So just like that, there is our preheater, or excuse me, our external heater that we actually use to make the blast furnace external preheater. There we go. So that's all of that. Let me make 6 of these real fast. It'll just take me a second to make up all the ingredients for this. All right, there's 5 more of those, and I am running out of inventory space as well. It is a shame this pack does not appear to have any backpacks in it that I've found yet, so I guess we're just going to have to deal with inventory management for the foreseeable future. But we can go ahead and plonk these down right on the sides here of this. There's one there, here, 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 and here. Great. So we've got all of those, and those don't actually appear to have connected. Do I have those in the wrong spot? Do I need to put them here? Yeah, that's why. You actually have to shift click while you are actually facing them. So those are great, those blocks to build with, but it doesn't seem to auto detect them unless you actually put them facing on there. I guess the only other thing that we're missing is the Immersive Multiblock controller. We can do that real fast because we literally just need to add a furnace with a hammer. Yeah, we definitely have an extra furnace sitting around here. So let's go ahead and throw this together with a hammer. There we go. And it did use the hammer to hammer that, but now we have the immersive multi-block controller. And I assume that we're going to use this to make our variety of machines. Yeah, we can place these machines quickly. I don't know why you need the key thing then. This seems weird, but whatever. We've got it, we can use it over and over again, and we get some rewards for our trouble. Well, time certainly flies right by when you're having fun. We have finished both of the automation of our blast furnaces here to get everything that we need to get redstone, so we're in a pretty good place. Next episode, we are going to be further diving into actually making our electricity generators. I think we're finally going to get water wheels, maybe some windmills, all sorts of really neat things that are actually my really favorite part of a lot of these packs, the early game of immersive engineering. I just think it looks really cool. So that's just a little preview of coming attractions. But for now, thanks again for watching this episode of Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here then. Bye, friends!